I want to talk to you about SSL certificates. What is an SSL certificate? And in today's conversation, I will explain to you all you got to know about SSL certificates. So here's the overview I want you to pay attention to. So let's go back to SSL Certificates 101. What is an SSL certificate? So basically, this is a digital certificate that authenticates a website's identity and enables an encrypted connection. So SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer, which is basically a security protocol that creates an encrypted link between a web server and a web browser. This is really important. So I want you to see the correlation here. Web server on one end and web browser on the other. So SSL actually stands for Secure Socket Layer. This is basically a protocol. Okay. So when you have an SSL certificate, this is just a digital certificate that really authenticates your website's identity and enabled an encrypted connection. In other words, a hidden connection from the likes of hackers and so on and so forth. And companies and organizations need to add SSL certificates to their websites to secure online transactions and keep customer information private and secure. As a matter of fact, it's not just about customer information private and secure. Also your own information. You as the website owner, you want to keep your information private and secure. In short, SSL keeps internet connections secure and prevents criminals from reading or modifying information transferred between two systems. So when you see a padlock icon next to the URL in the address bar, that means that SSL protects the website you are visiting. This is really good because it really adds an extra layer of credibility, an extra layer of a security to the website itself. And since its inception about 25 years ago, there have been several versions of SSL protocol, all of which at some point ran into security troubles, and a revamped and renamed version followed. Now we're talking about TLS, so Transport Layer Security, which is still in use today. However, the initial SSL stuck, so the new version of the protocol is still usually called by the old name. Okay, so even though today we have TLS, we're still calling it SSL. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. We are going to speak today about what an SSL certificate is. Let me give you the approach you need to really pay attention to if you're trying to really understand how do SSL certificates work. Let's talk about that. So SSL works by ensuring that any data transfer between users and websites or between two systems remains impossible to read, right? It's all about hiding the data from the eyes of hackers and so on and so forth. So SSL uses encryption algorithms to scramble data in transit, which basically prevents hackers from reading it as it is sent over the connection. So this data includes potentially sensitive information such as names, addresses, credit card numbers, debit card numbers, or other financial details. Imagine that, okay? So the process works like this. Let me break it down for you. So a browser or server attempts to connect to a website that is a web server secured with SSL. The browser or server requests that the web server identifies itself. The web server sends the browser or server a copy of its SSL certificate in response. The browser or server checks to see whether it trusts the SSL certificates. If it does, it really signals this to the web server. This is really great. And the web server then returns a digitally signed acknowledgement to start an SSL encrypted session. Encrypted data is shared between the browser or server and the web server. Think about it. This is really wonderful. So this process that I just told you about, this process is sometimes referred to as an SSL handshake. So while it sounds like a lengthy process, it takes place in milliseconds. So the thing here is that to really view an SSL certificate's detail, you can click on the padlock symbol located within the browser bar, and details typically included within an SSL certificates include things like the domain name that the certificates was issued for, which person, organization, or device it was issued to, which certificate authority issued it, the certificate authority's digital signature, associated subdomains, the issue date of the certificate, the expiry date of the certificate, and the public key. So the private key is never revealed, but the public key will be revealed. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about what is an SSL certificate. Let's quickly delve into the decision-making process here. Why do you need an SSL certificate? Let's talk about that. The thing is that websites need SSL certificates to keep user data secure, verify ownership of the website, prevent attackers from creating a fake version of the site, and convey trust to users. Can you imagine if your bank didn't have an SSL certificate and you want to withdraw money, or you want to have some bank transactions, and you have a hacker somewhere actually create a brand new website that actually mimics your bank's websites, and really, so basically they are driving traffic away from your real bank. So you're putting like your credit card information, your debit card information. So they got everything from you. They will be able to steal so much money, right? So this is one example though. This is why you want to have an SSL certificate, so you can authenticate the website you're visiting. If a website is asking users to sign in, enter personal details such as their credit card numbers, or view confidential information such as health benefits or financial information, then it is essential to keep the data confidential. SSL certificates help keep online interactions private and assure users that the website is authentic and safe to share private information with. And most relevant to businesses is the fact that an SSL certificate is required for an HTTPS web address. And HTTPS is the secure form of HTTP, which means that HTTPS websites have their traffic encrypted by SSL. Most browsers tag HTTP sites, those without SSL certificates, as not secure. So this sends a clear signal to users that the site may not be trustworthy, incentivizing businesses who have not done so to migrate to HTTPS. And SSL certificates help to secure information such as login credentials, credit card transactions or bank account information, personally identifiable information such as full name, address, date of birth or telephone number, legal documents and contracts, medical records, proprietary information. Again, we're not just talking about users' information. The site owner's information also is important, and SSL helps secure that as well. So now that I've talked to you about SSL certificates, I've defined the concept. Let's talk about the typology, because it's important to really understand that there are various types of SSL certificates. So let's talk about that. So when we talk about SSL certificates, the types actually vary depending on the validation level that you really seek. The 6 main types are: you have EV SSL. So here we have extended validation certificates. You have OV SSL, so organization validated certificates. You have DV SSL, domain validated certificates. You have wildcard SSL certificates. You have multi-domain SSL certificates, MDC. And then you have the UCC, the Unified Communication Certificates. So let's quickly talk about some of those here. So the EV SSLs, extended validation, this is the highest ranking and most expensive type of SSL certificates. It tends to be used for high profile websites which collect data and involve online payments. So when installed, this SSL certificate displays the padlock, HTTPS, name of the business, and the country on the browser address bar. So displaying the website owner's information in the address bar helps distinguish the site from malicious sites. And to set up an EV SSL certificate, the website owner must go through a standardized identity verification process to confirm they are authorized legally to be the exclusive, to actually have the exclusive rights to the domain. And then you also have the OV SSLs. So those are the organization validated. And so this version of SSL certificate has a similar assurance, similar level to the EV SSL certificates, because to obtain one OV SSL, the website owner needs to complete a substantial validation process. This type of certificate also displays the website owner's information in the address bar to distinguish it from malicious sites. OV SSL certificates tends to be the second most expensive certs, and their primary purpose is to encrypt the user's sensitive information during transactions. So commercial or public-facing websites must install an OVSSL cert to ensure that any customer information shared remains confidential. So for the EVSSL is great for online stores, and the OVSSL is great for like stores with secondary security concerns. And then you have the domain validated certs, so the DVSSL. So this is actually here, the validation process is minimal, and as a result, domain validation SSL certs provide lower assurance and minimal encryption. Okay, so they tend to be used for blogs or informational websites which do not involve data collection or online payments. For the wildcard certs, so those allow you to secure a base domain and unlimited subdomains on a single certificate. So if you have multiple subdomains to secure, then a wildcard SSL certs purchase is less expensive than providing individual SSL certs for each of them. So this is kind of cool. Let me give you a bonus here. I want to talk to you about the two other types of certs that we have. We have the multi-domain certs. So multi-domain SSL certs, MDC. So this can be used to secure many domains and or subdomain names. This includes the combination of completely unique domains and subdomains with different TLDs, top-level domains, except for local or internal ones. For example, www.example.com, example.org, mailthisdomain.net, example at anything.com.au, checkout at example.com, secure example.org. So here you have a constellation of unrelated domains. And what about Unified Communications Certs, the UCC? So UCC are also considered multi-domain SSL certificates. So they were initially designed to secure Microsoft Exchange and live communication servers. And today, any website owner can use this cert to allow multiple domain names to be secured on a single certificate. And UCC certs are organizationally validated and display a padlock on a browser. And UCCs can be used as an EV SSL certs and to give website visitors the highest assurance through the green address bar. So this is really good. So how do you actually obtain an SSL cert? Well, you have to actually go to a certificate of authority. And so they're called CAs. And certificate authorities, sometimes also referred to as certification authorities, issue millions of SSL certs each year. They play a critical role in how the internet operates and how transparent, trusted interactions can occur online. And the cost of an SSL cert can range from $3 to hundreds of dollars, depending on the level of security you require. Once you decide on the type of certificate you require, you can then look for certificate issuers, which offer SSLs at the level you require. So obtaining your SSL involves the following steps. Prepare by getting your server set up and ensuring your whois record is updated and matches who you are submitting to the certificate authority. It needs to show the correct company name and address. You need to generate a certificate signing request on your server. This is an action your hosting company can assist with. You need to submit this to the certificate authority to validate your domain and company details, and installing the certificate they provide once the process is complete. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about what an SSL certificate is. Let me give you a few pro tips so we have a clear idea what we're talking about. Can SSL certs be used on multiple servers? Yes, it is totally possible to use one SSL cert for multiple domains on the same server. Depending on the vendor, you can also use one SSL cert on multiple servers. This is because of multi-domain SSL certs, which we actually talked about earlier. So as the name implies, multi-domain SSL certs work with multiple domains. The number is left up to the specific issuing certificate authority. And a multi-domain SSL cert is different though from a single domain SSL cert, which again, as the name implies, is designed to secure a single domain. So now when an SSL cert expires, you need to understand that you have to renew it, right? Because SSL certs do expire. They don't last forever. So the certificate authority, the browser forum, which serves as the de facto regulatory body for the SSL industry, states that SSL certs should have a lifespan of no more than 27 months. So this essentially means that 2 years plus about a few other, like 3 months, up to 3 months, and you need to renew this if you want your SSL cert to be valid. And SSL certs expire because, as with any form of authentication, information needs to be periodically revalidated to check it is still accurate. And things change on the internet as companies and also websites are bought and sold. As they change hands, the information relevant to SSL certs also changes. So the purpose of the expiration period is to ensure that the information used to authenticate servers and organizations is really up to date and as accurate as possible. Now, how do you actually tell if a site has an SSL certificate? Very easy. Just look at the address bar in your browser. If the URL begins with HTTPS instead of HTTP, that means the site is secured using an SSL cert. Secure sites show a closed padlock emblem, which you can click on to see security details. The most trustworthy sites will have green padlocks or address bar. And browsers also show warning signs when a connection is not secure, such as a red padlock, a padlock which is not closed, a line going through the website address, or a warning triangle on top of the padlock emblem. Let me close to this conversation by giving you a review here. How do you ensure that your online session is safe? It's really important that you keep the right sort of the right kind of procedure here. So you only want to submit your personal data and online payment details to a website with EV or OV certificates. DV certs are not suitable for e-commerce websites. You can tell if a site has an EV or OV cert by looking at the address bar. For an EV SSL, the organization's name will be visible in the address bar itself. For an OV SSL, you can see the organization's name details by clicking on the padlock icon. For a DV SSL, only the padlock icon is visible. You want to read the website's privacy policy. This enables you to see how your data will be used. Legitimate companies will be transparent about how they collect your data and what they do with it. You also want to look out for trust signals and indicators on websites. So as well as SSL certificates, this includes reputable logos or badges which show the websites meet security standards, specific ones. Other signs that can help you determine if a site is real or not include checking for a physical address and telephone number, checking their returns or refunds policy, and making sure prices are believable and not too good to be true. You really need to stay alert to phishing scams though. This is really important. Sometimes cyber attackers create websites that mimic existing websites to trick people into purchasing something or logging into their phishing sites. It is possible for phishing sites to obtain an SSL certificate and therefore encrypt all the traffic that flows between you and it. So a growing proportion of phishing scams occur on the HTTPS sites, deceiving users who feel reassured by the padlock icon's presence. So to avoid these kinds of attacks, you always want to examine the domain of the sites you are on and ensure it is spelled correctly. And the URL of a fake site might differ by only one character. Okay, for example, you have Amazon, so Amazon instead of Amazon, so Amazon 0N instead of Amazon.com. So if you are in doubt, always type the domain directly into your browser to make sure you are connecting to the website you intend to visit. Never enter logins, passwords, banking credentials, or any other personal information on the site unless you are sure of its authenticity. Always consider what a particular site is offering, whether it looks suspicious or whether you really need to register on it, and make sure your devices are well protected. Very important. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I explained to you what an SSL certificate really is. I give you the overview. I give you the approach, the decision, the types of SSL certificates, the bonus, the pro tips, and the review. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.